Welcome to the Germinate podcast, where agriculture, business, and innovation take root and thrive. I'm Joe Sampson, and with nearly 2 decades of experience in agricultural equipment and scaling businesses, I'm here to bring you actionable insights, inspiring stories, and strategic advice. Whether you're an industry veteran or just starting out, this podcast is your guide to cultivating ideas, expanding your knowledge, and growing your venture. So let's get started and germinate your path to success. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Germinate podcast. I'm thinking, Kat, this is number 25, by the way. So we're making progress here, everybody. But Kat Coombes has joined us today. Kat and I have been friends, colleagues for a while now, probably 10 years. FEMA, right?
Yeah.
Got it. So Kat is the general manager of Tillage Management, which is a company located, I know you're in California, but I didn't ask you where. Where in California are you guys?
We're in Tulare.
Tulare, that's right. I knew that. So yeah, Tulare, California with Tillage Management. Your father is the owner of Tillage Management and you are the general manager. Talk to us a little bit about Tillage Management and how it came to be.
So we make the Optimizer one pass tillage product line. So we've been in operation since 2006, even though the product has been around since around the 90s when the original prototypes were coming in. And that's when we got into the company. We're farmers, primarily. So that's our dairy business, our tree nut farming business is kind of where we all started. So we bought one of these early prototypes in the 90s, and my grandfather at the time said, "This is going to be the product to change everything." So,
Nice.
so you know, we started working with the original inventor, and in 2006, purchased all the product rights for the company, and then we kind of took over running it with him, and now it's pretty much my family running everything.
Is your grandfather still involved or?
No, he passed away in the 2000s, but
Okay.
he was, he had the foresight to kind of see this would be a good path for us to go down. So we were always grateful for that.
Yeah, that's a great story. Like grandfather has an awesome idea and he says this is going to change the world. So we got to get involved with these guys. And California farming is not everybody knows how unique it is out there. I think I could be wrong, but you correct me, but I think there's like 300 different kinds of crops grown in California. It's like a totally different country
Oh yeah.
compared to like, hey, I'm in Iowa, we grow corn and soybeans and that's about it. Uh so your background's in farming and the uniqueness of farming in California, and you talked a little bit about what nut tree, like peanut trees or almond trees or what kind of
Yeah.
farming?
So we grow pistachios. So we've been
Okay.
doing that. Our first trees went in around 1980. Before that, we got into dairy. So started out in milk production, then decided, oh, it's just easier if we have our own cows. So my grandfather started the dairy back in the 50s. Expanded, got into a lot of different, different crops, different opportunities. We grow, a lot of the silage crops, cotton and other things.
Mhm.
We don't have the dairy anymore, so now we've pretty much full transition to pistachios, almonds, and citrus.
So what about you? You grew up on the farm and you've always been active on the farm, or was there a point in time when you moved away and
I never anticipated working on the farm actually because
okay.
we always went to the farm. We went to the dairy after school, years and years, grew up going there. The secretaries in the office would give us little craft projects to work on all day. So we spent, countless hours, but my goal was always to move away. I was going to work in marine biology, and that's what I
Okay.
studied in school for the most part. Kind of just circumstance that brought me back in 2012. Yeah, never saw it coming and now here.
What was the circumstance in 2012 if you want to talk about it?
Well, I've worked in some other jobs kind of focusing on the marine biology. I worked in Japan for a couple years and I actually came back from Japan, needed to have, just a solid job for a couple months to get my fiance over on his fiance visa. So I'm like, okay, I'll work for the company for a while and then
Right.
never left.
Seriously, that was 2012 and you never
Uh-huh.
left. Wow, that's a crazy story. Nice. So you go to college, you have no dreams or hopes or anything to be on the farm or to work on the farm or
Mhm.
come back home, let's just say. You go off to Japan, which is quite the adventure for anybody. Was that after college, I'm guessing?
Yeah, yeah, so I worked a
Okay.
couple jobs after college and then took the job in Japan, teaching science at a high school.
Okay.
Really cool, like, one of the best times in my life.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where in Japan?
In northern Honshu, so I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Aomori, but it's a great
No.
place.
Yeah. And 2 years is no, like, it's not a vacation. You're a resident. You're there. I mean, you're engulfed in the culture and everything.
Yeah, Japan is fantastic.
Yeah, I've been there, just once, and we talked about this on a previous podcast with Todd over at Meyer Springs because he worked at Honda in Japan, and just talking about the cultural differences between how, I don't know, precise and process driven the Japanese are, and it's so different where we're more relational driven here in the US and, relationships and the cultures are 2 totally separate things.
Oh, yeah.
But aspects of building quality is very similar between us and Japan for sure. I'm talking manufacturing.
Yeah, I mean, and he got the manufacturing side, obviously didn't work in manufacturing over there, but, even the school environment, it's the culture of respect and integrity and patience is something that I've always taken away, and it really holds true to kind of what I personally believe in, which is why it resonated so well, and I try to bring those back. I mean, you want long-term relationships with people you can trust and count on, and people it does take time to earn trust. It's not something that you just walk in the door with
Sure.
to a new group. And, that's a patience aspect that America doesn't always have, and I think they might benefit.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's definitely patience is something that's sort of a lost art in 2025.
Mhm.
We all are running a million miles per hour after every next little thing, and it could be the dumbest little thing. It's like quick dopamine hits flipping through our phone, and it's like everybody just needs to slow down, calm down, and be patient. And yeah, it's sort of a lost art in this day and age. Maybe it'll come back. Who knows? Our kids' generation, that's up to you. Whatever that generation's called, I can't ever remember.
Yeah,
Gen
I don't
Z,
know either.
Gen Y, Gen X, whatever they are. But okay, so you go off to college, you go to Japan, and then in 2012, you're just wanting to make some extra bucks to get on with life. And what, 13 years later, here you still are.
I
So
know, yeah,
yeah,
just get you claws in you and you can't leave, but I mean, I'm happy. It was it was a gradual transition and, gradual, adoption of role. You don't just come back and you're the manager. You come back and take every step along the way and you build the systems that we're now using, which is, it feels good to be a part of every single step of the process. And then, when you're 13 years in, you're like, "Oh, well, I'm so deep in. I feel so committed because I helped build all of this that it feels so personal. It's really hard to leave."
yeah, I hear you. I bet. So, do you remember back in those days when you first came back? Okay, I'm only going to be here 2 months, and then 13. Was there a moment where you're like, ultimately, you got to kind of fall in love with it and realize, wait a minute, this is part of me. Do you remember that specific moment, or was there just something that's flipped or switched, or what was it?
I would say I was applying for other jobs throughout that early period, still trying because like I love the sea. I love marine biology. I just wanted to get back to marine education and science.
Uh huh.
And I did get a job offer, what, 2016 around then. And I had to make this call about, following that marine biology dream, across the country somewhere else or, staying, working with my family. And it kind of gives you that decision where what's my life going to be after this? And
Right.
I'm gonna stay.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
happy.
I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm gonna stick it out. I can always go to the ocean.
Mhm.
You're not that far away from the ocean compared to me. That's for sure.
That's true.
Quick little ocean story and marine story, and then we'll get on with life. But we were in, oh my gosh, I want to say it was somewhere in Mexico, not Tulum, Akumal, which is by Tulum, and it was right in the middle of a turtle, like a sea turtle nesting period. I think it's just a popular sea turtle spot. I don't know if you know anything about this, but the sea turtles would come out at night, dig their nest, which digging their nest is cool. If no one's ever seen it, it's awesome. And you're not supposed to get too close. And they have these red lights because turtles are super attracted to light, apparently.
And I think it's the moon.
Is it the moon?
Yeah, because they use the moon to guide them up on the beach as their navigation, up and off the beach. So the white
Okay.
light, they get confused and they might go the wrong way.
That's it. There
Mhm.
you go. I just learned something today. I always thought it was because like this place we stayed, it was super dark at night because they were, they were aware of the turtles and you had to use red lights to look at them. And it was amazing. It was like one of those experiences that I always remember of being like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm witnessing this." And we saw not only a turtle burying the nest, but also the little babies running out to the
Oh,
ocean
yeah.
to try to, survive and thrive in life. And it's kind of a metaphor to all of us. Like some of them make it and some of them don't. But yeah, it's a cool thing. Anyway,
Well,
that's
they
my
say some of them make it. Then you're like, "Okay, don't disrupt, don't stop, the seagulls trying to take them." And you're like, "But can we stop them a little bit?"
yeah, like get away. Yeah, exactly. No, it was definitely like we were in their world and we were just letting them do their thing. But it's a cool sight if you've ever, there's probably a lot of those throughout the Caribbean or Mexico
Mhm.
or Gulf of Mexico. But if you've never seen it, folks, check it out. It's awesome. Anyway,
We saw some of that in Australia when I was in school. I studied in Australia for a few months in school, and we also had some good sea turtle experiences.
damn cat, you've been all over the place. Australia, Japan, where else?
Well, we went to a lot of Southeast Asian countries when we were living in Japan and, would go back in a heartbeat. Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, amazing.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I've been to Cambodia and Vietnam and what a different world. You can totally experience what it's like to be in a totally different world when you go there,
Mhm.
and people that have never been, it's wild, and such a the people are trying every day just like we are to just be better, do better, and that's the most amazing thing about traveling is really everywhere you go, everybody's still trying to do the exact same things. We're all kind of fighting the same battles, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, it's funny, just people everyone living their own story.
Yeah, so true. So true. So yeah, getting back to your story, you get engulfed in tillage management and then, that's probably a little bit challenging for someone like you because your father is the owner of the company and here you are coming off world traveling and you kind of get engulfed into the business. You said right away like you had to earn your spot. You didn't just come in and been like, "Okay, hey, I'm the general manager, everybody start respecting me." Talk about that journey early on.
Well, you get stuck doing a lot of the terrible jobs, the ones that the painstaking, this is going to take you a month in a spreadsheet but I don't know, I learned so much. That's when I learned all the Adobe Suite things by just being given a project and like, well, this is my project that I have to do, so I'm going to learn all the software about how to do it. I didn't have any accounting background coming in, so everything I've learned has been, functional. This is why we're doing this, so we can get this result. So it's nice to come in without all that responsibility and just have the opportunity to learn and get all the, on-job training that you didn't if you didn't study that in school, for example.
Yeah, and most of the things we study in school don't relate to coming into a I'm gonna liken tillage management to a small business, right?
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah. They don't really have those classes in high school and college. It's not, they say, "Okay, you wanna be an accountant, so go study accounting in college." It's like when you're in a small business, you're an accountant one day, but the next day you might be the HR person, the next day you might be sweeping floors, you know the drill, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I have a very short attention span, so it is good for me to be, flipping jobs every single hour of the day.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. That's a good point. That's true, and that's the heartbread of America is the small businesses. And Kat and I did I can't remember what it was, family company family business luncheon at the last farm equipment manufacturing show in Florida, and I just did a little research on family businesses, and I want to say it was close to like 80% of businesses in the US are family-owned businesses or in a roundabout way. That's a crazy number if you ask me.
Mhm.
It's making the world go round.
Yeah, well, it's special. It's funny. I wouldn't even have guessed that 80%.
I know, I wouldn't have either. And
But
somebody will fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty accurate. It's close to that. We should I'll Google it here in a second to confirm, but
okay.
yeah, it's a big number is the point, and That's also providing a lot of jobs for a lot of people. So there's the family dynamic, and we all know families can be, I'm not gonna cuss here, but they can be pretty messed up, you know? And all of them are. All of our families are. We have our own battles, and so some you have to kinda leave that messed up stuff with the family when you come to work every day, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're affecting a lot of lives, so
Mhm.
how's that relationship like with your dad? And I believe your husband works there as well, right?
Yeah, my husband and my 2 brothers, so we
Oh,
are
wow.
yeah.
Wow.
It's I mean, it's always a learning process, and there's some friction in the beginning when we get used to working with each other. I mean, just because my older brother and I have a good relationship, but we have a much better relationship in separate rooms. So
Okay.
sharing an office was once we stopped sharing an office, everything was better. You learn kind of what works for you. And at this point, I mean, we don't really have big personal issues that come up. We're all kinda, water off a duck's back in terms of not holding grudges and not saying, "Oh, I told you so. That was a terrible decision. I'm gonna hold you, to that guilt." Like, we don't really do that to each other, and I think that's a benefit just of our personalities.
Sure.
But, it took time to get here, but now I think we're in a really good spot, and I feel bad for people who don't have such a good relationship.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that probably nobody talks about really is the aspect of the family that because you still, you love your brother, you love your husband, and that's a different kind of love than, say, loving your employees and making sure that their lives are but you can't hide that and kind of put that underneath the rug either, that love that you have for your family, right?
Oh, no, no. I mean, and it's cool to come to work and, we meet all the time and talk all the time, and you switch from asking about people's pets and their personal lives, and the next second, we're talking about the farm and
Yeah.
the products, and, you just flip back and forth, so it's all a big jumble together. There's not really a big separation, between work and family at that point.
Do you guys clearly define your roles? Like, does your brother have a specific, you know, role and your other brother and your husband and your dad? Is that clearly defined within tillage management?
For us, it's easy. My older brother is an engineer, so
Okay.
that is his skill and his focus.
Yep.
My younger brother runs the farming, so that is, his primary responsibility, and then I run the manufacturing overall. So we're always talking and communicating, and we always no one will get upset if you give feedback on how they're doing their job. We like we like to talk about it. I mean, I discuss the engineering projects, and we talk about the farming and new things we're going to try in the fields and the tree management. So it's, everyone knows what their job is. So we're all, we're comfortable enough to accept feedback.
Sure, sure. And you kind of stay in tune, it sounds like, with what's going on in the farm and what's going on, things. And I'm sure they do the same thing too. What's going on in manufacturing. So you kind of bounce those ideas off of each other.
Yeah, yeah. And then, you're all working with the same people. So sometimes we're like, oh, will this work, with our employees? Can we train them to do this? Do you just think it's a good idea or a stupid idea? And you
Yeah.
can always rely on pretty honest responses.
Sure, sure. So how active is your father still in the business? Pretty
Oh,
active?
incredibly. Yes.
Incredibly, okay, got it. I gotcha. He does the day-to-day, and is he working kind of in the business, or does he do more, let's work on the long-term strategy type stuff?
He's kind of he's the link, the completion to the circle. So, I mean,
Okay,
he's going around, he walks the trees every day, he walks the shop floor every day. I mean, so he's kind of and he's the one, I would say he's the best at thinking of what products are gonna be in demand next,
sure.
because he's making that bridge and, has ideas, and then, it's like, "Okay, we need to design this, engineer, go." Production, go, R&D, let's get it tested. So it's cool to have that because he's a farmer and an engineer, he has that really good vision, so, you know, I'm
So
I'm glad he's still here working with us.
nice. Yeah, it depends. Some people are like, "Oh, I just wish dad would finally leave," and some people are like, "Oh, we're so grateful because of all that knowledge and all that experience," and you're just not ready to maybe take that full leap yet. And, he probably knows that too. He's like, I know when everyone's going to be ready and I know when I'm going to be ready. And,
Mhm.
it's just a matter of finding that right time, right?
Well, I mean, he doesn't really sound like he's gonna retire, but that is 100% fine by me because 'cause we're not really in this, strict pyramid where we all answer to him and report to him, like, we're pretty much, like a circle at the top. We're
Nice.
making decisions together, he gives us, tons of, decision making, with or without him. So it's really, like, there's no negative side,
Yeah.
it's only positive. It's wonderful. Like, I'm and, it's a friend to talk to every day. Come
It's your dad. It's
I
awesome. I mean, my dad passed away in 2016 and we were like best friends too. Like I had a great relationship. I'm not choking up. I actually had to cough, but I had a great relationship with my dad. He's like a great mentor, great friend, kind of a goofy bastard, but a good guy. And I always think when I hear stories like yours, like how awesome it would have been to work with him. It's super.
Mhm.
You should be very, very grateful for that. That's awesome. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's one of the reasons I stayed. I mean, how could you ask for something better? And something you never find, or rarely find, with just colleagues that you
Yeah.
don't have that, 40-year relationship with.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of a good transition into the next thing though, that you're only what? Your dad, your 2 brothers, you and your husband, but there's way more people that make up your business.
Mhm.
So how does that work for you all to kinda translate or to bring in, non-family members and try to make them feel like, "Hey, they're adding value here as well."
I mean, it's really easy because we already have this family culture as part of it, and, just be if you find people who have the integrity and the honesty and the commitment that you do, I mean,
Sure.
they feel like family
Yeah.
at this point, especially, like, some of our long-term employees who've been working with us, the same time I have. I mean, their opinion is just as valuable, and we include them in part of the circle. I mean, if we're thinking of new ideas, we're like, "Okay, Rick, how is this gonna work? What do you think?" The part of the team.
Yeah.
And, you earn your way into that spot. It takes time just like you'd expect, just like we all had to.
Sure.
But, I mean, I want that relationship with people I can count on and trust and not just, going through employee after employee, just to get the best hour per rate. Like, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for people who wanna stay with us for life.
Yeah, it's a deeper connection, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like you know, they've earned their spot and you've earned your spot, and collectively that makes up to your point. I love your kind of circle analogy, and it's a good one because that's really how all businesses should look at it. We're a circle. There's no sometimes you're at the top, sometimes you're at the bottom, sometimes you're over here, and it's just, everybody's collectively working together to try to make the business successful. That's really what it's all about in the end, right?
Exactly, and we
Yeah.
all love coming to work every day. I mean, that's if we can give that to our employees like we have, then, I mean, that makes me happy.
Yeah. So talk about tillage management. What is it that you guys manufacture? What did you manufacture 12 years ago? What do you still manufacture today? Is it different? And what does the future look like? I know I asked you like 7 questions right there, but fire away.
We make tillage equipment, that's pretty
Yep.
pretty much in the name, so that's easy
Yep.
enough. I mean, we started out the original prototypes were complete, true one-pass tillage for, open field crops, so anything corn, cotton, wheat, alfalfa, that's what it was for, and that's our big, 350 plus horsepower requirements for those. So it means we started out with 18 footers, we, moved down to 12 footers, and that was pretty much the whole, first 20 years of, the product line. Only in around 2016, we thought, "Oh, we should use the same concept for orchards. I mean, we have orchards. Let's not hesitate." And so we made a condensed version. And so now we have a lot more prototypes, like smaller, for like 75 horsepower and up.
Mhm.
Working on some stuff for vineyards as well. So our product line, was just pretty stable for so long, and then bam, we have, so many different models that we're working on for all the different because, California with so many so many tree spacings, so many specialized crops, so many different soil types. So, our options have kind of exploded.
I bet.
But it's fun. That makes it's cool to, like, we have the product for you. That's something we never had before because we're targeting such a specific farmer type.
Yeah, and that's one thing unique about the California ag market is and I was a regular at the we called it the Tulare Farm Show because it was in Tulare, but it was I think it's called the World Ag Expo, is that
Yeah,
right?
we call it the farm show too, so
The farm show, yeah.
the farm show, yeah.
But what's very interesting about it is a lot of the equipment manufacturers, including you all, have such kind of different equipment and many different options, and it's probably you just nailed why. The amount of crops and the way they're grown are so unique and so different in that market that you kinda have to adapt, like, to your point, in 2016, we made something a little bit smaller for the orchard industry, and now we're working into whatever sort of other industry, and it's very unique. There's not just, like, 2 different sizes and widths like we see at the Farm Progress Show, for instance, in Iowa. It's
Mm.
totally unique. You can get a lot about the farming landscape in California just by going to that show one time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you're no different at Tillage Management. You kinda have to be unique and have different options and be flexible, right?
Yeah, and it also helps you, adapt, like, different crops are always in a different type of cycle or, different profit margin in terms of, who's doing well, so it's nice to have other options with, among the crops, just as a manufacturer to keep us going. So, if it's not a good year for dairies, maybe it's a better year for orchards. So that's helped us a lot in terms of stability.
Sure, sure. No, I bet. And yeah, you just gotta stay on your feet and stay nimble. And what about that original design that your grandfather had this idea and he said, "Hey, we've gotta get involved with this," is still around today? Is it the entire concept or has things evolved?
I mean, it's the entire concept. We've changed so many of the implements, but the soil mechanics, we got there pretty quickly in terms of, how we work the soil in terms of maximizing use of the horsepower and, getting the finished result with, as little detrimental damage to the soil as we can. So we're happy we're a conservation company. That's what we consider. And we know that's what I studied in school was sustainability, environmental science, conservation. And I didn't realize, there's one way of going about it and, people can have their backyard vegetable garden and grow food themselves, and it is incredibly labor intensive, and you're doing a good thing, but in terms of the impact, you're always limited as a individual. But if we can target these industrial farmers and cut, fuel use by 50% and cut dust pollution by, 70%, like that, it feels like we're really doing something, and we're saving people money. Like that, it feels good, rewarding that it's kind of a
Yeah.
win situation where everyone is benefiting from this stuff. And so that's the concept. And that's what we're trying to make sure we hold through in our orchard line too. That's the backbone of what we're doing is we're helping farmers and we're helping, the environment.
I mean, that was the last, like, minute or so, that was passionate. You could see it come out. I think everybody's gonna resonate with that because that's the one thing about starting a business. Some people feel like they have this great idea, but they aren't passionate about it, and so it's hard for everybody else to jump on board because it's like, "Yeah, but I don't feel it from you." But I
Mhm,
just felt it from you. Like, that was passionate, and you could tell that you care about not only, sustainability, but creating a product that provides a real value to the end user. Like you said, it's gonna save you money in the end. That's a huge win. That's an
mhm.
easy feature to sell, right?
Yeah, but, ask me 20 years ago if I would be able to give a speech on why I love tillage so much. I mean, you
Yep.
never know what way things are gonna blow, but
I know, but that's a good I mean, yeah, but you gotta be passionate about what you do. You gotta dive in and be passionate about it, and clearly you are, Kat, so that's awesome. Tell everybody how you promote that passion. What are some of the things that you get involved with? I mean, clearly I know you're involved with FEMA, and that's a big part of, how you guys get out there and I guess build the network, but what other things do you guys do? And you can talk about FEMA too.
I mean, FEMA's probably we don't step too far out. I mean, besides just working the company, trying to expand. our message.
Sure.
I mean, we work, we're part of the different crop associations that the farming side is. So it's kind of cool to have this group, going. We're a part of like American Pistachio Growers Association.
Okay.
So, it's nice having the farmer side and the manufacturer side. So you're right in there hearing what the growers are looking for and what they want, and having the same problems that you are. Um, and then, we're like, "Okay, well, how can we help? What can we do to take advantage of that?" And, that's more on the farming side. But, in terms of manufacturing, FEMA's really our main association we're involved with, and that's been great. I didn't expect it to turn out like it has.
Yeah. I want to digress a little bit. We'll talk about FEMA in a second, but pistachios. All right. I love pistachios.
Mhm.
They're really good. They're expensive. Maybe you can talk about why they're expensive. It's probably not the most easiest thing to harvest, but they're also like this superfood. They're really good for you. They have all sorts
Mhm.
of benefits. Um, Give us a quick rundown, real quick, because I'm interested in the pistachio. Why are they so expensive, for one?
Just it's intensive. I mean, when pistachios come off a tree, they're, have a green hull around them.
Okay.
That has to be removed, and then the pistachio has to be dried and roasted and, processed. And even the harvesting, we have to harvest them off the ground. So we have these tree shakers that spread a fan around the tree and shake the tree and get the nuts off. And, most efficient, shake them twice. So right. Um, it's a very intensive crop, and I mean, it's in the past, it's been just the supply. I mean, it's most like the pistachio market is mostly in or growing is California, New Mexico, Texas, Arizona. And
Uh-huh.
that's pretty much it, and then Iran.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um,
Can you tell the difference between a pistachio off one of your trees versus one from a different farm?
oh, no, no.
No, you can't tell. Okay.
No, they're all the same, yeah.
They're all
And
the same.
there's
Okay.
only really, 2 varieties. Everyone, there's not much difference.
Okay. Tree shakers are cool. If no one's
Mhm.
ever seen a tree shaker, you should go once again, go to the Tulare show or the World Ag Expo. Check out a tree shaker. They're everywhere out there because all these, nuts that grow on these trees, the only way to get them off is to, in a sense, shake the tree, right? That's it. And they go into a net or do they go into the ground or is there a little bit of both or
They can't touch the ground.
they can't touch the ground.
That's a
Okay.
dead nut, yep.
Oh, really?
Yep, so they have to be caught, and then they get put into bins, and the bins get trucked off to the processors.
And that's when they roast them and
Right.
deshell them, do whatever it is they do. Pistachios gotta be deshelled. Sometimes they're in a shell, a little.
In the past, the ones in shells have been the most valuable, but now there's more of a kernel market growing, so they're more valuable, so
Yeah.
it just keeps changing.
Hmm, hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting market, and they're I don't know, they're really good. It's a good little snack to have at your desk or have wherever and, put in your salad, and they're kind of a what about the nutritional benefits? Do you know? Do you know all the nutritional
I
benefits of a
know they
pistachio?
have all the proteins. I know that's
Okay,
the big thing. So if
okay.
you want a complete protein snack, they're the nut.
They're the one to have, the
Yeah.
pistachio. Yeah, and now you can go buy de-shelled pistachios in a bag that are seasoned with any seasoning you could think of, from ranch to burn your mouth, fire, hot, whatever. Yeah, and they're all really good.
I have one on my
Y
desk right here.
You have them there. There you go.
Yeah.
I bet. Good for you. Okay, yeah, let's go back to FEMA. So Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association, the other FEMA, we call it. You decided to join because why?
Oh, we just kept getting flyers in the mail,
Okay,
and, eventually I'm like, "Hmm, maybe one of us should go check it out." And
sure.
someone said, "Oh, Kat, you go check it out." I'm like, "Okay, don't don't
Yeah,
really know what to do." So,
right.
yeah, so that was almost yeah, about 10 years ago. And, just assumed you're gonna hear some different talks and maybe learn some stuff and then go home and that's it. And then turned out to be, completely different, completely, more than that. It's not just the education, but you walk into this community of people and all of a sudden you have a new community you're part of.
Yeah, like a new family, and you decided to get active too, which is, I think, the message that I've said on this podcast so many times is if you're going to get involved with something, you might as well be active. And you definitely chose that path. I mean, you got on the board. You're working your way up the board. So talk about that a bit.
Well, I'm never really goal driven in that regard. I just naturally, if I'm gonna do something, I just kinda do it,
I got you.
all the way. And if I have a question, I'll ask it, and if I have something to say, you say it. I don't really like to lurk in the shadows around the edges. It just kinda always
Yeah.
been like
Yeah.
that, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So I don't know. I just it's been you just keep meeting more people. You keep seeing like, oh, here's something that could be better. So let me try to make it better if I'm here already.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
just kind of it kind of carries you along whether you're trying to get anywhere or not. So
Yeah. Well, I said this to Glendon because he was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and but I promise I'm not bullshitting here, but I said this to him as well, and I'll say it to you because I firmly believe it, but, when you speak, because 'cause I'm on the board as well, but when you speak at the board, you don't speak a lot, but when you do speak, it's always something there's always some tangible element behind it, like, it's a call to action, and it's super intelligent, and it's something that maybe how do I wanna say it? I don't wanna say ruffles feathers, but maybe is not the norm of traditional thought processes at FEMA. It's kind of like, I know we've always done it this way, which everybody hates that. This is the way we've always done it, and that's probably pretty obvious to you, and you're saying, "How about we look at maybe doing it this way, or have we thought of this different approach?" And there's been some ideas that we have transformed into real tangible things. I mean, is that just how you are? Do you like to kind of push back on the status quo, or do you believe in that, or am I making this up?
now I have a long history of devil's advocate.
Okay,
Like
I
whatever
figured.
whatever side I start on, I'm like, well, now let's make this a little difficult.
Yep. Yep.
Not because I like conflict, I think it's fun. I enjoy I don't have a lot of respect for processes. I
Okay.
I respect people,
Sure.
but a process is not a person, and unless you understand the origin and the purpose of it, then to me it's, worth questioning. Because you look at some processes, they're just completely arbitrary. They get put in place, and there may or, you just put it in because you didn't need it, but you had to write something down on a piece of paper. So why respect, you know, some bad decision that may have been made without questioning? And sometimes, though you look at them and when you start to really tear them apart, you realize, oh, it was built on something. Let's leave it here. It's not as bad as you thought it was because there's a reason. But it's always worth re-examining why we're doing what we're doing.
Processes are not people. You should put that on a t-shirt. That's a bumper sticker. I love it. It's so true, and we live in a process world. There's processes for everything. There's a process to go to the bathroom at some companies. There's a process to, I'm probably that's not true, but it seems like it. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's been especially in California.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I bet. And what people don't realize that make these processes is they sometimes drive others insane. It's
mhm.
like you know, you get s we also live in a world of progress. I mean, I wanna talk about AI with you here in a second and talk about progress, like, we're going places, but I've heard from so many people on this show and just talking in general where they're like, "I felt so handcuffed because the way we used to, do something, there's now this process for it, and that process now takes it 10 times longer to get the same job done." It's like, that's
Mhm.
a silly process. That shouldn't be and implement it. Forget it, change it. But my gosh, you hear it all the time, and it just sometimes they get in the way, right?
You think if you've ever made a form, fill it out. Like that is your test on whether you made a good form or a crap form.
Yeah.
Just sit there and fill out the form. Is like, oh, is this a waste of time? Yeah. Let me redo it. That's
Yeah.
what you're to test the process that you are making to see if it makes sense or you're just dragging down your employees with stuff they don't need to do.
Yeah, I know I was talking to a buddy the other day, and they have been doing SOPs, so standard operating procedures within their business. They've been working on them for like 2 years. And he's like, "I don't even know where the heck these things are housed now. I don't even know where the original documents are." and to his point, they're never probably gonna look at them again. What a total waste of time. I talk a lot about RGAs and revenue generating activities in businesses. Like, that's the simple stuff. Like,
Mhm.
everything should be kind of a revenue generating activity. That doesn't mean go get another sell, but it means, stop wasting time on arduous tasks like that. Like, that's a silly, arduous task that somebody read in some book somewhere that thought this is a good idea to implement somewhere, and anyway,
Yeah,
I'm getting, you know,
I'm
a little
with you.
bit yeah, you're with me, a little bit frustrated. It's interesting that you brought that up. Processes are not people. I'm gonna remember that. I'm coin that, Cat.
All
That
right.
can be all yours. You
Okay.
go ahead and make it yours, but, what about technology and the way you utilize it? You seem sort of like a techie person, but maybe I'm reading into it wrong, but, let's talk about AI. It's a hot topic right now. I couldn't do what I do without utilizing technology, specifically AI right now. I know that for a fact. Yeah, I am so grateful that I live in a world today where I can utilize it, but I am very aware of how scary it can be. I mean, is this going to start having a, reason and thought behind it? Because that's kind of scary. But what is your take on how you utilize it at your business?
I've actually I love tech. I
Yeah.
love, good software.
Yep.
I'm what you would call a control freak in terms of I don't like someone untrustworthy doing a job that I know I can trust myself to do. And
Hmm.
I've been that way with AI.
Okay.
So I have been slow to pick it up. Not like the robots are taking our jobs type of thing, but I don't want to lose the authenticity
Sure.
of our brand. That's been my scariest point. And most of the AI stuff that we've, seen as an opportunity is mostly in that marketing, sales, communication side, and that's where we think our, authentic voice is most important. And if you get an email and it has if you've used AI, then you can recognize it when someone used it to write an email to you. And I'm
Yeah, oh,
like,
for sure.
I don't
Yeah,
know. Like
for
I
sure.
don't I don't really appreciate that. They're just, this could have gone to 1,000 people. I don't really feel like it's targeted for me. But we're trying to get through some of that and use it for um, the tools where it will save us time. And so we're trying that. We're just kind of stepping into it right now. So I'm
Yeah. And like things like CRMs. I don't know if you guys utilize a CRM. Do you know what that is? No?
yeah, but that's where we should be using it and we're not.
Yeah. Because it's a good way to develop trends and see some of the analytics that would have taken, I don't know, years to compile, and now it can do it in 5 minutes. And so it's very interesting the way we can get some of those tasks done. And I'm all about being efficient. I think that's the older I get, the more I'm more in tune with efficiency versus is the process right to do this? I just want to be efficient at, my job, and I want the clients that I work with to be efficient as well and not waste a bunch of time on things that you don't need to waste time on. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I mean, what makes humans special is our authenticity, our uniqueness, and hopefully it won't just turn us all into the same person.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're learning to, you can customize it and like Activation's been doing some helpful webinars on
Yeah.
how to make it work for you as opposed to just, be a generic content creator.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we just have to figure out how to make it work. I'm sure it'll save us time because I think we're losing opportunities by holding back.
Yeah, I mean, just go to market strategies, simple things like proposals, quote forms, CRM stuff. I envision a world where there's a lot of sales reps out there right now that hate CRMs because they've got to enter all this data in there after they do a sales call. Well, there's probably going to be a world where they can record that sales call and all that data will be already entered into some sort of a system, and a trend will develop just from conversations. But I hope conversations won't go away because I don't know. I think we have to have conversations about it to kinda understand how it works, so that's why I like talking about it?
That's what makes life like, life and not
Yeah.
I notice that when my husband's gone, I get very robotic because I kinda lose that emotion side of my brain, and that's what you realize you need humans to keep you human. So I think there's always, a place for us in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I do too. And it's going to be fascinating to see where it all goes. And especially like my kids, your future families someday, and where these next generations are going to go. It's moving at such a rapid pace that you're right. When we can to circle this back to the original point of the conversation, if we can go back to just being patient and kind of having those talks with one another, because you're right, those are some of the best nights that I have when my wife and I just sit down and have a conversation about nothing important. It's just life, like you said. We're
Mhm.
just doing life together, and it's no fun when you don't have anybody to go through it with you.
Yeah,
Way I look
exactly.
at it. Yeah,
No, totally.
yeah. So, what do you do to unwind as we close things down? What's your go-to unwinding things when you're not at work?
I mean, I have a lot of hobbies. Like I play a lot of piano. That kind
Okay.
of in terms of stress, that is the best stress relief I can think of.
Yep.
I play a lot of video games too. That's
Nice.
fun for me. Well, my husband and I play together. That whole couples who game together, play together, stay together. So
Okay, nice.
I can attest to that. Otherwise, it's just gardening. I'm pretty active. I like being outside. So
Yeah.
I
Well, you
mean,
live in California. The sun shines a lot there, so you might as well enjoy it, right?
yeah. Well, now we're getting into the hundreds, so I got
Ooh,
limited time.
yikes. Yeah, it's been hot here in Iowa too the last week, and it's nice. Everybody loves it. The first week of like mid 80s, 90s, we're like, "Oh yeah." You spend every waking moment outside
Mhm.
because we've been cooped in all winter long. So, yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you so much for joining me. This has been fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yeah, tell everybody how to get in touch with you, how to get in touch with Tillage Management. Anything else you want to promote?
No, we're just if you're interested in what we're doing, our website's onepasstillage.com. And yeah, if you have good ideas for new products that people need, let me know.
Okay, 10-4. We can do that. Well, awesome. Kat Coombes, everybody, with Tillage Management, the general manager. Very insightful stuff, Kat. I appreciate you much. And we'll definitely see you again, probably at the next FEMA.
All right, thanks a lot.
Hey, folks, thanks for tuning into the Germinate podcast. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others in the industry. And join me next time as we continue to explore the innovations and strategies shaping the future of agriculture and business. Until then, keep growing, keep innovating, and keep germinating your success.